Hi. In this video, we will introduce you to macros and the macro recorder in Excel.
Let's now learn about using macros and the macro recorder. A macro is a way to automate repetitive tasks. It's basically a computer program written in a language called VBA. You can use macros to create things like monthly sales report. You can also create charts, loan calculators, print reports, and do virtually anything you want in Excel with macros. If you want to create complex macros, you will need to learn VBA language. But you can create many useful macros for routine tasks without knowing VBA language by using what's called the macro recorder. The macro recorder converts actions that you do in Excel into VBA code automatically. Then it's saved as a macro which you can use later. You can think of the macro recorder like it's like a tape recorder, but instead of recording sound or music, it records the steps that you do in Excel and converts that into VBA code and stores as VBA code, and basically it automatically creates a macro for you. To work with macros in Excel, you need what's called a developer tab. To work with macros and record macros in Excel, first of all, you need to have what's called the developer tab in your ribbon. The developer tab is not available on the ribbon by default. You will need to install it. So what you can do is you can come somewhere inside the ribbon, do a right click, go to customize the ribbon. And here you will see a developer tab, but it's not active. You need to come here and tick it like this and click OK. And now you see the developer tab in your ribbon. So this is where you can work with macros, create macros and record macros. So on the developer tab, on the first code section, you'll see there's a icon called Visual Basic. So if we click on that, this opens up what's called the Visual Basic Editor. This is where, if you know VBA, you can start coding, or once you have created a macro using the macro recorder, you can come and see the code here and edit it and view it. So at the moment, there's no macro, so it's blank. So let me close that. And the shortcut key to open the Visual Basic Editor is Alt and F11. So if you press Alt and F11, your editor gets opened. So let me close that again. Then the second icon is called macros. If you click on that, it will show whatever available macros that's in your workbook. So at the moment, there's no macros, so it's blank. So from here, you can run the macro, edit the macro, and do other work with the macro. So I close this now. If you want to open the macro window, the shortcut key is Alt and F8. So if you press Alt and F8, that also opens the macro window. Then we can basically start recording a macro using this button over here called Record Macro. Or you can, if you come down, you will see in your status bar, after ready, there's a button there. It says no macros are currently recording. Click to begin recording a new macro. You can click that and start recording a macro as well. Also, if you go to the View tab, you see at the end, there's this macros section. If you down click, from here you can record a macro as well. Then we have what's called macro security. If you click on that icon, so from here you can set the macro settings. You can either disable VBA macros without notification. That means if you open a file that has a VBA code or a macro, it will be disabled and you will not get a notification. If you're on this option, disable VBA macros with notification, that's when you open a file which has a macro, you will get a notification. There's a macro in it. Do you want to run or open it? And then the third one is where you can disable macros except digitally signed macros. And the last one is enable VBA macros. This means any macro is by default allowed to open and run. So it's not recommended And here it says potentially dangerous code can run. That's because basically viruses can be created using VBA code. And it's better to always have your setting on the second level where you are notified if there's a VBA code or macro. And then you can decide whether to open the file or not. So we look at use relative references option when you start creating or recording macros.
Thanks for watching.